Hi, everyone. This is Brandon Mablios, Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Datasite. I have with me today Ann Ross, Vice President at JP Morgan. We're here today to speak a bit on this topic of women in deal making. So thank you, Ann, for joining us today. And please give a quick intro on yourself. And if you could talk a bit about your path into investment banking.
Great, thanks ever so much, and thank you for the opportunity. This is a great series to have. So as mentioned, I work at JP Morgan, and I'm currently in our EMEA equity syndicate team. I've been with the team for probably about a year and a half, just over now. And before that, I was in our ECM origination team, also in EMEA, but focused on the UK markets and then also sub-Saharan Africa. I guess in terms of coming into investment banking, I had no real sort of past in the kind of finance space. And although I did study some economics at university, it was never really kind of finance focused modules that I did. However, I figured that for a career, I wanted to be in sort of quite a dynamic industry, and always enjoyed doing things which I guess had a little bit of maths, and then a little bit of kind of written communication, and that was the same for school, university, and I wanted to continue that through to my career. And I guess I did a few of these sort of insight days, and then also some slightly longer short programs in banking, and just speaking with people, it seemed like a really interesting place where there were always going to be things to learn, and you were working alongside smart people. And so in my penultimate year of university, I did an internship with the UK ECM team at JP Morgan. And I guess it all started from there, and around 9 years or so later, I'm still here.
Yeah, and it's great that the banks offer those sorts of inside days and obviously the longer extenuated internships, right? That helps you get a feel for the culture and understand, if it's the right industry, if it's the right bank. So yeah, it's good that they offer that now, and everyone gets the opportunity to do that. So coming in obviously as a woman, and any sort of advice for other women that are coming into investment banking.
I think I'd probably give similar advice regardless of gender. And I think, as you say, the insight days are really important to just understand the culture. And it's a bit of a two-way process. You get to test out the bank, they get to test you out. Because I think it's so important just to be yourself. And, we're working incredibly long hours. You've got to be very dedicated to the job. And so it's really important you enjoy it. And finding that right team around you, I think, makes the world of difference. And so it's really important to make sure that you are who you are, so that they get a sense as to whether you're a good fit or not. And I mean, I guess it's for women in particular, I think just kind of have confidence in your own ability. Make sure that you use kind of your natural skills, because actually in any team, everyone's going to have different personalities and different things that they're going to be able to contribute. And so I guess it's just making sure that you figure out what your strengths are, and then it will come together hopefully nicely from there.
Yeah, for sure. And so now that you've been in the industry for obviously some time now, we know the industry in the past has been traditionally more of a male industry, but we have seen obviously more diversity and a lot of initiatives from especially bigger banks in terms of drawing in a more diverse workforce. Have you seen the industry change at all over the course of your career in terms of for women? And also, would you say that you have any mentors, whether women or not women, right now?
So I think things have changed a bit. I think JP Morgan has always been very good at the diversity side of things. There's obviously always more we can do, but I think I've always had very collaborative and strong teams. And I've never really noticed gender as a particular thing, but I think that's maybe because I have always had sort of a good cohort of women around me, and therefore it's not been an obvious thing. In terms of mentors, I think actually what I have found most recently over the last probably about year and a half now, we've actually had a mentor circle, which I found really useful because it's basically there's 4 of us in different areas of the banks, and then we have a senior person coordinating the group. And actually, it's just really useful to get different people's insights and perspectives on how they go about different challenges. But I think it is so important to have senior people, be it male or female, who you really look up to, respect, and aspire to be like as well. Because ultimately, in your career, if you want to progress, it's sort of if you see yourself wanting to be your manager, that's always going to be helpful. Or if you see that people have been through these things before, and actually you can get advice from them. I've always found that really helpful. So yeah, I think definitely people find mentors in different ways, through formal programs, through informal routes. But I think it is always important to make sure that you have those aspirational figures around you.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned some of the networking and the mentorship within JP Morgan. Is there any sort of, I guess, external networking groups, whether it's with women networking groups or just other clubs or societies that you're a part of that you have found helpful for networking?
And there are so many that you can be part of, and that ranges from joining the choir, the orchestra,
Yeah.
business resource groups we have. There's junior ones, there's senior ones, and then there's all the informal networking opportunities that, I guess, in a pre-COVID situation, we were able to utilize. And I think it's about finding what works best for you. I think I've always been quite actively involved in some of these groups, partly because I enjoy meeting the new people, but I also really enjoy event organisation, or getting exciting speakers in. And obviously with the platform, there's some great opportunities there. So I think it's what works for you best. But there is certainly a whole wealth of opportunities. It's about finding which ones you want to be part of.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point, right? It could be a networking group that has nothing to do with your career, right? Just something to kind of meet other people and find kind of like-minded individuals, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you never know who you might be kind of coming up against in the netball team. It may be your next dream job move.
Yeah, yeah. And so great. So this has been super helpful. And any other kind of final career advice or final thoughts, lessons learned from your career so far to date?
Um, Lessons learned. I mean, you learn every day, and I think it's quite difficult to take a step back sometimes and just figure out, actually what is it that I've achieved this week, or what is it that I want to try and achieve next week. And I think making sure that you sort of take a step back and see the whole big picture is really important. And ultimately, you've got to remember that you're here to deliver for your client, and therefore they need to be at the heart of whatever it is that you're going to do, whilst being mindful of also delivering for the firm. And I think one of the things I've always really liked about being in a more markets facing role is that you have to be in touch with what's going on in the real world. So even if you've got your head buried in PowerPoint, Excel, whatever it is all day, it's actually remembering that there is a bigger world out there. You've got to be an interesting, dynamic person. Ultimately, we're in a relationship business, and therefore, your client may love Excel shortcuts as much as you do, but you probably need some other things to be able to talk to them about as well. So just making sure that you remain grounded, I think, is one of the things that I learned very early on, and has definitely stuck with me throughout.
Great. Well, again, thank you very much, Anne, for joining us today. I hope everyone enjoyed the discussion. And yeah, everyone have a great day. Thank you.